Paul made a big point of casting actors from Norway. He could have cast well-known actors. Instead, he went for actors from Norway. What was it like for you to be working with this ensemble?
Well, I think it was very important for this film to have an all-Norwegian cast and crew because everyone in Norway knows exactly where they were that day, and they know who they were with and what they were thinking, and we use that a lot as actors because we've felt a great responsibility to tell this story in the most respectful and to honor the victims and to honor their families, and this story has a Norwegian soul to it. So that's why it was so incredible to have Paul to make this film and to be doing it in English, to give it to the rest of the world, to tell the story about Norway and to tell the story about what happens it could happen anywhere, and it could happen, it happened in Norway, and we need to tell this story to everyone. So the fact that it was done in English is so important to reach out to younger people and to reach out to the ones who are struggling with this and taking this fight now.
And Paul, before I ask Jonas a question, why the choice of focusing on, I'm not going to butcher the name, Viljar's story?
Well, yeah, I mean, whenever you make a film, you have to make decisions about what the film's about and who the characters are. The truth is, you could have chosen any family, anybody, really, any of those people. I chose Viljar because so many people remembered his testimony, and in particular the fact that he got a response from Breivik in court, and he sort of he beat him fundamentally, you know, morally and intellectually and emotionally, and of course the fact that he went with his brother and his two best friends. So it had a core human story that anybody, wherever in the world, seeing this film can relate to, I think. You know, one family and two young people. And that ultimately is what makes it, I hope, although it's obviously a tough film to watch, ultimately inspiring, because they did come through and they did speak for their ideals and they did hold fast to them and they did confront him with great courage. And that, both metaphorically and actually, is what's going to have to happen if we're going to roll back these present difficulties.
And Jonas, by the way, everybody, Jonas has done a lot at theater in Norway, but this is his acting debut in this film.
Thank you.
And my question, Jonas, is did you meet with the family? Did you meet with Viljar?
Viljar.
And what was it like working on developing the character?
Yeah, first of all, I met with Viljar before we started shooting the film, and I also talked with him during the shooting of the film. And it was really important for me, both to get to know him and to listen to his story, and for him to tell me what happened. But also it was important for me that he get to know me a little bit, and that I got his blessing in a way. So yeah, but it was really, when I first talked to him, it hit me how brave he was and how focused he was during in the aftermath of these attacks, because he was shot 5 times and he was ruined, and he struggled so hard, and he was so focused in getting back to life and getting back on his feet, and then in the end to go to this courtroom and sit down face to face with the man who wanted him dead. And that's it was really important for me to tell his story in a respectful way, but also to really show how brave he was and how focused he was to go to that courtroom, sit down, do his speech, and yeah, as Paul said, beat him.
And you didn't have access to, of course, thank goodness, you didn't have access to your character. How did you develop the character? You watched videos, and I mean, tell us about approaching the character. And by the way, you are so chilling in this movie that, when I met you outside, it was too close for comfort, in a good way, in the most flattering way.
Well, I tried to schedule a meeting with the terrorist, but he declined. So that didn't happen. And the reason why I wanted to do that was I felt that the most responsible thing I could do to honor the victims was to make a portrait that was as truthful and honest as possible. So I didn't want to censor myself from any good source of information. And meeting a person in real life would have been a good source of information. But what I did was I watched a lot of police interrogation footage. And I think I expected to see a monster. And instead I almost felt nauseous by watching how normal he was in many situations. And I think that we have a tendency to mystify evil people, or we don't want them to be human. We want them to be fundamentally different from ourselves, because it's a very disturbing thought to think that they can also have human sides. So I thought that was an important thing to emphasize in my interpretation of the character. But of course, I also read books. I read the forensic psychiatric reports and a lot of other court transcripts, etc.